Welcome back to another episode of Road to Partyhat, episode 30, our first episode of 2023, and let me tell you, this episode is going to be a banger, probably the most drops and upgrades in one episode ever. I finally feel like I'm making some real progress towards our ultimate goal of a party hat, and prices of the party hat have actually dropped a fair bit recently. If you guys remember, in April of 2022, I believe I made a meme about the situation. The cheapest party hat was over 100 bill, and I thought that this series might actually be impossible for me to finish, but now the yellow party hat was under 37 bill last time I checked, which means we're actually making some real progress towards getting one. It's as cheap as it was when we started, maybe a little bit more. So if you want to be a part of this journey with me, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you catch all the new episodes, and if you could please leave a like to help the video get out to more people, that would be amazing. And let's get started with this super exciting episode. So last episode I had a dilemma. Do I keep my FSOA that I made from killing Karapak and I just bought the last piece, or do I sell it? Well, the comments were pretty mixed on this, but at the time that I made that video, FSOA was like 2.7 bill. It had dropped quite a bit, but when recording this, it had gone up to 3.5 bill, and the Raptors event was just about to come, so I was a little bit anxious how that would affect the prices, so I decided to sell it. And the reason why is I want to save for the most expensive weapon in RuneScape and one of the most powerful weapons in the game as well, the Bow of the Last Guardian. I already had a pretty good range set up, and you guys know that's basically what I've been using since the early days of this series, and then all I need really is the bow and a few other things, so why not? I decided that's what our goal is going to be this episode, hopefully to make the last 2 billion GP I need for this bow and get us even closer to a party hat. So we're going to see, but hopefully we can do that. If not, we'll still make a good amount of money, but I'm trying to be hopeful. Alright, so I decided we're going to start off with doing some of the giant oyster. Now I know we haven't gotten anything great from it yet, but you always have that chance of a die, which is why I do it every month, and why I use my monthly reset to do it twice a month. So the first one we got a fortunate component, which is pretty good, 1.5 mil for free, I'll take it. And the second oyster, not so good, but that's okay. I'm hoping that one day we're gonna loot this and get a die that'll totally change the series, so make sure you always do your giant oyster as well. So I decided to do something a little weird. So I haven't been to Telos in like 3 years, so I decided, hey, we're gonna go there with ranged and see how we can do there. Now I was not very optimistic and not really thinking about loot at all, but we did go to Telos and we did get some kills in it. I'm sure not a lot of you have seen my Telos log, seeing as, you know, the last time I did Telos was probably like episode 2 of this series, so it's been like over 2 years, 2.5 years. So my Telos log has not changed since then. We have 3 orbs and 2 dormants and the pet in 1100 kills, which is very unlucky. I know my friend has 3k Telos kills and he had like 50 orbs, and my other friend has like 4.5k Telos kills and he has like 60 orbs. So the orbs, you know, in 1k kills you should get like maybe 6 to 7 orbs at least, if not more. And I wasn't doing low in rage. I usually would streak from 0 to 500, which isn't that high, but it's enough to get some decent loot. So I went back and it was very interesting. So what ended up being the problem was usually phase 5 was my problem back in the day. It's a very hard phase, especially if you haven't done much PVM in EOC. It's pretty difficult of a learning curve, but my problem was phase 4, which was weird. I might have been because I was ranging, and dealing with minions while ranging seems a little bit harder than with mage, which I wasn't really expecting or trying to do too much here. Just kind of wanted to get back into the flow of Telos and learning how to do it with range, but nonetheless it was pretty nice. We made a little bit in the common drops, but while we didn't get anything crazy from this, it was still nice knowing that, you know, I have Telos there if I get annoyed with the Archglacier and want to do some streaking and potentially get some big drops. Like the Dormant Saren Godbow is now like over a bill, 1.5 bill, which is pretty nice to have kind of that marquee drop at Telos that's over a bill, even, you know, 6-7 years after Telos release. So that's pretty nice, and I definitely feel like we'll be doing some more Telos Telos and kind of pushing the limits, maybe trying to get that bronze warden someday in the future. So I've actually been doing a ton of Zami recently, and I've actually made some great progress there in terms of enrage. So you guys know I did do a lot of Zami on release, I think around 30 or 40 kills, and I ended up getting a vestment robe top that was like an 800-900 mil split, which was really good. Of course, that's gone down by like 10 times now, so it was lucky that I did get that on release, but I hadn't really done that much Zami since then. I don't even have my solos done, but I decided I would start trying to maybe push and rage a little bit more with my friend, and I don't mean pushing to like 1000%, but I was basically just doing 100% kills, and I felt like I definitely could do a bit better. So we ended up doing a lot of 300%, which were definitely harder than the 100%, so it took me a little bit to get used to, but that's where I think I did most of my kills. And mind you, during this, the Raptors Rampage was going on, and what I would do was I was basically use my Raptors Rampage at the end of each hour. So if I went, 20 kills dry, we would do an hour of Zamrock, and then at the end of the hour, we would do one 500% kill, and I use my Raptors Rampage and get hopefully the best drop rate. Now, I never actually ended up getting a loot from this Raptors Rampage, but that doesn't mean we didn't get any rare drops at all this episode. So I was happy that I finally did a 500% kill, and that means I unlocked one of the Zamrock titles, which will be fun. I do eventually want to get up to that 1000%. I know my friends have done it, but they are both in Mage and Crypt Bloom, so it'll be interesting to see if it is possible for me to do with range with them, seeing as I am pretty sure that you just get absolutely smashed here. But the luck actually was pretty good at Zamrock, despite the Raptors Rampage not giving us anything. So I actually went pretty dry, and the nice thing is you have bad luck mitigation at Zamrock. So after a while, I did end up getting a drop, and this drop was the Vestments of Chaos robe top. Now, what me and my friend said we were doing is that unless we get a bow piece, we're just going to keep all our drops. It'll just be essentially keep. So if he gets a vestment piece, he'll keep it. If I get a vestment piece, I'll keep it. But if we get a bow piece drop, we will split that. So this vestment robe top did end up being something that I get to keep for myself, which was a 260 mil or so drop, which honestly is not too shabby. I mean, there are a lot worse drops you can get places than getting something like this. So I was pretty happy with this. Now, we kept doing Zami. This was a theme a lot. I was, like I said, really enjoying it, and I ended up getting a drop that was actually really rare that kind of shocked me afterwards how rare it was. So I ended up getting the Zamrock Pet drop, and at this point, I think I got it at 70 something KC, 78 KC or so, 70. And this basically, I had no threshold up to this point, and I think I got it at 300% enraged. So it was a 1 in 500 drop, which is rarer than getting a bow piece. So it could have been a bow piece, but still this pet does look pretty decent, and it was cool to get a pet early because usually I'm left waiting, getting the pets late, like with my Raksha pet and stuff. So it was nice to get it, and happy to have a new pet to the collection. So we continued Zami, we continued doing Zami, and I ended up getting another drop. This was after being, 20, 30 kills dry again, and we ended up getting a vestment hood, which was a unique on the log, but I believe this is the cheapest unique you can get from Zami. The boots and gloves might be a little bit cheaper. This was in the 30 mil or so is what it sells for, seeing as, one Zami kill at this enrage, you just get 7 to 8 mil in normal loot, but it's still a drop that I didn't have on the log, so I'm pretty happy with that, and we're working slowly but surely of completing this Zamrock log, which is always nice. We do want to get Golden Reaper eventually one day. After my friend was very dry, he ended up getting a drop, and I'll just show you my reaction. We got it, the bow. Oh, show it. I knew it. That's reroll. Should we reroll, guys? So yes, we ended up getting the Divine Bowstring. My friend got it, which is his second bow piece, and this ended up being an absolute massive split. None of us expected this because we're so used to, he has a ton of like Chaos Roars and Codexes on his log. He has way more kills than me, so this was only his second bow piece, and I've been seeing people be incredibly unlucky with the bow pieces, so I definitely was not expecting one at all, but he did get one, and this wasn't from Raptors, this was just from him being dry for a little bit. And yeah, we ended up selling it and getting a nice split of over 900 million GP. So this is a huge addition to the bank, and seeing that we actually have done so much Zami. I think I've done like 80-90 kills since the last episode, and with the normal loot you get like 5 mil, 6 mil, up to 8 mil every kill at our enrage, so that's like another 300-400 mil I think I had in normal loot. If you add on the Vestments robe top, the Vestments hat, and then also this bow, we've definitely made over 1.5 bill, maybe closer to 2 bill from Zami in the last 70-80 kills, which is absolutely incredible. And then after this, I basically had enough that I needed barely to try to get our Bow of the Last Guardians. So I ended up buying the Bow of the Last Guardians top, and then essentially I put in an offer for the other 2 pieces that I needed and decided to wait, and within a few hours I ended up getting all 3 pieces. I think it cost me around 5.5 billion GP, which is the most that I've ever spent on an item in RuneScape. There's nothing that I've spent that much on, so it felt like a big commitment, but it felt like something I needed to do, and I'm gonna say I've actually been testing this out, and I'm really loving it. We went and we augmented it. I took off the perks from my SGB since I wouldn't be ever camping that anymore and just using it for a spec, and put it on this bow. And we essentially have the Bow of the Last Guardian, and this thing is going to take me a little while to use, but luckily I decided to go and test this out at a place that I know pretty well, which is the Archglacier. So you guys know my story with the Archglacier. We're over 2,000 kills now trying to get our last core for the log, and essentially I decided this was probably one of the best places for me to test out the bow, because I'm very comfortable there. Now at this point we were already on a streak up to like 700% enrage, so I was like, do I really want to go here and risk the streak trying to test this out? Yeah, I do want to do that. So we ended up going, and it went pretty smoothly, but the bow is definitely going to take me some time to learn. I'm so used to using Hydrix bolts like constantly with blade bounce that the adrenaline gain was so much that now with the bow I don't have as much adrenaline gain, and I'm going to have to be constantly using the bow's special attack. So managing my adrenaline is definitely going to be something I'm going to have to learn a bit more, and something that I didn't expect at first with the bow, but I can definitely tell after testing this for a few kills that the damage increase is definitely going to be worth it. The bow's special attack is so nice. Essentially, I'm trying to, at this point, keep it up at all times, sort of like you would with the ECB spec. So then every 4th hit or so, we get that big hit. The only problem is you would likely want to try to time your hits. So when the spec procs, you'll be using a big hit like a Debo spec or a big threshold or some sort of high hitting hit. And it's kind of hard for me to focus on, looking at my buff bar all the time to see how many stacks of the spec I have, so that's something that I'm definitely going to have to get used to as well. But I did do some more testing with this at Zami, and we improved our duo kill by like 30-40 seconds, which was actually a massive increase from me using crossbows and an SGB. But I was actually streaming this the night before my birthday, so it was about to be my birthday, and for my birthday, the Archglacier, we had gotten Nihilus previously, which of course I don't really need because I have a ton of spare ones. So the Archglacier decided right when it was my birthday at midnight, I looted a kill, and he gave me the Artifact of Lang, which was not the unique I wanted. So it was pretty funny though on stream that he was trolling me with that, because everyone was saying core for your birthday, and then he gave me that, but that's okay. We did get a pretty good streak going with a good amount of money in the chest. So I actually continued this streak even longer, and we ended up getting a Scripture of When drop. So as you can see in the chest, we have every single unique drop but the core. We have the Artifact of Laying, the Dark Nylas, and the Scripture of When. And if we just get 2 more common drops, the Onyx and the Onyx Dust, we will have a full loot chest with the only drop that we haven't gotten, the core. So the question I have for you is, we have 300 mil in the chest. If we die, we'll lose the Scripture of When, the Artifact of Laying, some of the Nylas, and some of the loot. We'll probably lose over 150 mil if I die, but usually my thing has been to streak until I die or get a core. What do you guys think? My highest streak is 148. We're currently in the 80s right now. Do you think I should continue this streak for next episode, or should I claim? That is the question at the end of this episode. Let me know in the comments, what should I do? Continue or claim? Now we're going to go look at the progress we made and how much money we made, because it's been quite a bit. So in total, this episode, I would say, based on the Glacier, I did do some previous Glacier streaks as well with no uniques, but I did make a few 100 mil from those. And then all the Zami loot and stuff, we definitely made over max cash this video, if not more, if you add on all the other stuff. In terms of upgrades, of course, I did buy my biggest upgrade yet. Now, if we look at the wealth evaluator, though, it's going to say that our bank is only about 10 bill. However, it's counting the Bow of the Last Guardians as max cash when it's almost 4 bill more than that. So I would say, if, with all things considered, our bank is probably in the close to 14 to 15 bill mark, because some things are priced incorrectly on the price checker. So 15 bill at this point, if we get to 18 bill, that is halfway to a party hat, which is insane. I actually feel like we're making some real progress. If we make 2 to 3 bill an episode, we only need like 7 or 8 episodes more to get our party hat. So I'm actually really excited for the future of this series. And yeah, I'm gonna be grinding, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a really fun one for me. And yeah, make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for the future episodes coming. Definitely gonna try to go for some enraged titles from maybe Telos, from maybe Zamrock next episode, and hopefully get some really nice loot as well. So good luck on all your drops, and I'll see you guys in the next one.